Hello, and welcome to this coaching and developmental section of the Executive Summary Developmental Report. This part is going to deal with the specifics, showing you the pathway to becoming better at being yourself. Again, the focus of this entire process is not to try to change you, but to give you the indications, to give you the tactics and the strategies to optimize your strengths and minimize your blockers. So in this section of the debriefing tutorials, we're going to view your specific top performance tactics as they are now, and then we're also going to compare you to other top performers, and finally to present the specific customized coaching strategies and tactics that will enable you to optimize your strengths and minimize your performance blockers. Please remember that the target of this entire report series is to move towards top performance. It's a process. It's not something that's going to happen overnight, and it's not a direction towards perfection, but a direction towards improvement. So when it comes to exactly how you're going to improve, it's really easy to miss the bullseye. But with this tool, we've tried to make it easy because first, we've already identified the key factors that consistently drive top performance. Second, we've been able to measure those key performance factors. Third, we've been able to compare your current scores to those key performance factors. And finally, we're going to present you with the specific tactics and strategies that will enable you to amplify your specific key performance factors that will assist you as you move from wherever you are towards this optimal goal of top performance. So how do we define top performance? Well, if you remember from the thinking tutorial, that we know that top performers, regardless of their role, regardless of their industry, top performers consistently make well-balanced and informed decisions. Those decisions are supported with passion. They believe in what they're doing. They're excited about it. And people can just sense that they believe strongly in their recommendation. And that decision is also going to target a specific desired result. Shooting with a rifle, not a shotgun. So in order to get there, we're able to measure, thanks to the Nobel-nominated research that we use, we can measure your degree of balance that supports your specific critical thinking, decision-making pattern and shows us your capacity to consistently, in a balanced manner, target specific results. Second, the results that top performers seek to achieve will smoothly sync with and function within their organization's guidelines, rules, policies, and resources. So in order to measure that, we measure how you currently value the need for rules, structure, procedures, and order. Do you see value in that? Are you someone who embraces this concept of being organized, or are you someone who shoots from the hip? Remember, the key to this is balance. 3, we know that top performers target results, finally, that will engage and enthuse and empower the other people who are going to be impacted by the decision and its targeted result. So in order to measure that, we can calculate quite reliably how you currently value other people and the influence that that valuation contributes to your final decision. Are people important to you, or are they not important to you? Because we're always making our decisions based upon what we believe is the best possible solution. We can measure the components that build and formulate and deliver that solution. The developmental section of your report begins on page 14, and it looks like this. and we're going to examine your coaching and developmental strategies. Let's take a closer look. The top paragraph on that page shows you that top performers feed their strengths. That is, they look to optimize their strengths while starving or minimizing their blockers. We've highlighted that this measurement of how you go about doing that is a measure of your ability to utilize your intelligence and to access your natural and your learned skills, and also to be able to control your emotions. It is the unique structure of how you think on a day-to-day basis. What you think is a good decision and how you get there. The middle part of that page 14 shows you that we're going to focus on your primary strengths, the things that you're just naturally good at doing because you want to call upon them. You can trust them, and they'll assist you on a daily basis as you approach your problems, challenges, and opportunities. If there was some sort of a success formula, the first step would be realizing that it starts with your qualifications or your knowledge. We can't expect anyone to perform successfully in an area that they don't have any experience or knowledge or understanding of. So we start with this strength of knowledge times a good decision is going to set the course for positive and good results and the successful outcomes that most often follow. So remember that it kind of looks like this. If you were going to put it into a formula, it would be like a simple fourth grade multiplication table. The first number would be your qualifications or your credentials. So we look at an individual on a scale of 0 to 4, that their credentials operate at a 2. That would be average credentials, times this first multiplier, that would be critical thinking. And on a scale of 0 to 4, that would be pretty good. It would operate at the solid B level. So we take average credentials, a 2, times good critical thinking, that would be a 3, gives us this performance indicator of 6. Now let's look at a second individual. Notice that they have the exact same level of critical thinking capacity at a level of 3. But the second individual on a scale of 0 to 4 has very strong qualifications and credentials. So we take those stronger credentials times very good critical thinking. We notice that we get a performance indicator number that's twice as high. Now I share this with you because in human performance, the first factor is always your qualifications or your credentials. Do you know what it is? Do you have experience in what it is you're trying to resolve with the problems, challenges, and opportunities that are tied to a specific challenge that you're encountering? Remember, everyone is good at some things, but really no one is good at everything. Your strength reports are broken down like this. It begins on page 15, and you'll have several pages of your primary strengths. And they're presented in pairs. The actual strength is presented first. In this case, you'll see that it is intuitive insight. Now, this will be different than your scores. This is just a sample report. The first item is the actual strength itself, which is explained. And then it gives you the specific tactics and suggestions for utilizing and optimizing that particular strength. And then there's another one presented in pair, and another one presented in pairs, a second page presented in pairs. All of this is presented to you both in terms of your hierarchy, of your natural strengths and abilities, and also the specific tactics, so that you can use these perhaps in ways that you've not been doing before, or just supporting the fact that these are skills and abilities and talents that you can trust and count on. What we're after is an understanding that human performance is a balance between your strengths on one side and your blockers on the other side. So we couldn't really present any sort of a honest developmental report just by reporting on your strengths. So we also present your blockers. Now, a word about blockers. The key thing to remember about them is that they're like roadblocks or hurdles that are in our pathway. They impede our ability to deliver top performance. Now, you can break through these blockers, but first you have to know what they are. So everyone has blockers. It's so important you remember that. And don't just focus on your blockers. Feed your strengths and starve these blockers. They're performance factors that interfere. That's their only role, is to interfere with your ability to consistently deliver top performance. Now, it might be one of several people blockers. Maybe you care too much about other people. And so you'll be reluctant to hold their feet to the fire when they need to have their feet held to the fire. Or perhaps you have too negative a view of other people. And so you make your decisions without much consideration for how is this decision going to impact other people. It can go either way. Blockers can operate on the positive side or the too negative side. It might be a results blocker. Perhaps you're an individual who is too reluctant to pull the trigger. And you're always thinking in terms of, well, what could go wrong here? I'm going to play defense and think in terms of what could go wrong. Or the other side of that coin is somebody who's got their foot on the gas pedal all the way, and they play offense. Let's go. Let's get this done. Instead of thinking about the potential consequences, it's just let's proceed. Either side can be a problem. It might be a rules blocker. Maybe you're someone who doesn't adhere to the rules, who believes that the rules are just kind of guidelines for other people, but they don't apply so much in what you do. Or you might be on the other side, and someone who is very focused on following the rules, step by step, little flexibility. Either side can be problematic, or it could be one of the internal self-blockers. That is, your self-esteem, how you value your current roles in life, and how you value the future. These internal scores, although not quite as relevant as the external scores in a day-to-day basis, can definitely have a big influence on your overall performance. Because if you're spending all your time worrying about your current role, will I have a job tomorrow? I hate this job. I hate my boss. Or you're worried about your future. These factors draw energy away from your ability to work on a day-to-day basis to solve the problems, challenges, and opportunities that you encounter. Page 17 of your report lists your primary blockers. And they're presented the same way. They're presented in pairs. It first shows you your primary blocker, and then it gives you suggestions for mitigating the influence of that blocker. And again, these will be different for you. But for each person, we've listed the specific strengths and blockers. And there's going to be several pages of them that are listed just that way. What is the blocker? What can I do about it? Etc., etc. Focus on one of these blockers at a time. This is not a once read, put on the shelf kind of a thing. This is a companion that you can take with you the rest of your career and review it and let it help you to become better at being yourself. The final page reminds you once again to seek improvement, not perfection. While perfection is an unattainable goal, we can all get better. We can all improve on a daily basis. This is a goal that we can actually achieve, where perfection is one that only results in frustration. Now, to help you through this, we've built a series of these online supporting documents that you're reading now, and you can access any and all of them at this address here. So final thoughts. Again, this is not a one-time through thing. This is a companion that you can keep with you as part of your growth as your career unfolds. There's a lot of information here. It's like going to a wonderful buffet. You can't possibly eat everything on one plate. So live with it, revisit it, use it to your best ability. Now, the report itself is presented in one of two ways. We make two different models. Sometimes you will receive a report where the supporting documents, that is the full DISC communication document that's 33 pages, and the 20-some page full motivators report is attached directly to this 19-page developmental report. So you get one document that runs somewhere between 65 to 67 pages. The other way to do it is to order just the developmental report and then order the motivators in the DISC as a second report. It's a supporting document. So it's available either way. And we hope that whichever one you're using, that it will be very helpful to you and used along with these online companion debriefs. And I just want to close with a couple of quotes. For all of us, we got where we want to go. We had to begin where we were. So start today wherever you are. Remember, you don't ever have to be perfect. You just have to be better tomorrow than you were today. Thomas Edison tells us that great things are not done by impulse, not with one giant flash of brilliance, but by a series of small things brought together. And that's what we've given you in this report. There's a lot of little nudges to move you towards this concept of forever improving performance. And finally, that success is just the good fortune that comes from aspiration, desperation, perspiration, and inspiration. So we hope that this will help you do that. Thanks for visiting, and again, we want to wish you all the best. Aloha.